I'm Mr. Grindler, and here are my creatures. And welcome back to another episode of Mr. Grindlers Creatures. But on today's episode, I'm so excited for this one, can I just say? Like, really excited. I can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait. So, for today's episode, we are doing the Ephebopus murinus Rehouse. So, her name is Jackie, and that's named after Jack the Skeleton. It was one of the few tarantulas that I do have named, and she is absolutely stunning. So basically, her enclosure was riddled with mould. It was the wrong sort of soil. So I had cocoa fibre in there, which is I don't like it. I don't like it for soils and that. So we've changed it over to topsoil. The rehouse I'm going to show you. So we're going to go down to the table and we're going to have a look at the rehouse. But then something interesting happened after, and just keep watching to find that out. On top of that, so if you guys watched my previous video before, from the show I managed to grab an Ephebopus murinus, so a mature male, which I absolutely just watch the video because there's some things that have happened, and I cannot wait, absolutely cannot wait. But let's go down to the table, let's rehouse Jackie, and then we'll have a look at what else happened. So let's hear the backstory for Jackie. At the start of the hobby, I ended up buying a Ephebopus hattie from a local pet shop near me. I remember that rehouse, back in the days of the spiders living with me and Charlotte in the bedroom. There was even a Buddha in it from the get-go. If anyone wants to watch some cringy content, then just look back on my old channel, Mr. Grindler's Journey, and you will see it as some of the first videos released. The next day or two, we ended up finding her dead. Sometimes I blame myself for it, but looking back and thinking, on the setup and everything, it was okay in my eyes. We went back to the pet shop and luckily they gave us an Ephebopus murinus after a few words. And that's when we got Jackie. Since her being in my collection, I believe this to be our third, maybe fourth rehouse with me. But now I wish I waited till the show, as I would have put her in one of the bigger tarantula room fossorial enclosures. When rehoused into this enclosure, she decided to go straight to the bottom of it, as you will see in a second. And I bet if I had more inches of substrate in here, considering it's already at about 8 inches, she would dig even further. And now I'm just curious. For anyone who does not have a tarantula room rehouse tube, or whatever it is called, then I highly recommend getting one. Coming in 2 sizes, they are absolutely great when trying to capture runaways, or even doing tarantula rehouses. To be honest, we was both amazed with all the web at the top of her tunnel entrance and how much of a solid piece it was. But after some thinking and talking, we both decided on using the flooding technique. With her at the bottom of her burrow, we decided to slowly pour water into the entrance with the hopes of her coming up. And now that she has come up to the top of her burrow, we can use a tarantula room tube to safely keep her inside till we get her enclosure ready, but first we have to get her inside. Sorry, I can't shut up about this Rehouse tube. It's just an absolutely great idea and makes rehouses so much safer and easier. The only issue I have found though is even with taking both ends off, if you needed to use a paintbrush, you'll end up having your hands, or fingers directly at one end of the lid, which could be risky for some. But what I did was pre-make a hole big enough at one end, allowing them fingers to be safe if needed. So now this girl is safe and sound, it's time to empty, wash and rebuild her enclosure. Starting with the substrate, which is the topsoil. Adding a cork bark tube for her to use as a starter burrow. Placing moss from the Spider Shop UK to help with humidity. And some more. Adding some leaf litter. And last of all, a water dish. You can even go one step further and add isopods and springtails into the substrate to help maintain the tank, meaning fewer rehouses should be needed, especially when it comes to fossorials. Considering how much substrate they actually need and the humidity levels, it makes sense. We even placed our web from the old enclosure into our new one. But now it's time to get Jackie into her new enclosure. One thing to remember when it comes to Ephebopus murinus is they don't kick hairs from the abdomen, but instead they kick hairs from the front. So don't be sticking no faces up close. Wear them safety goggles first. I'm kidding. Please don't put your faces anywhere near them. So with Jackie Rehouse, 2 days later, Craig messaged me while I was at work. He said, "Jaden, I thought Jackie was dead. As I went to look closer at the tub, she was molted." I was like, no way. And well, yes way. Have a look at this. A freshly molted Ephebopus murinus, and just in time as I recently got a rather fresh mature male.
So with her just recently molted, I wanted to keep an eye and wait a few weeks before feeding. But you know me, I like to wait and sit on a video to gather as much of its journey as I can before releasing it. And since this rehouse was done a few weeks ago, I was able to capture the first 2 feeds for Jackie. As for the pairing, stay tuned down the line, and I hope you enjoy these feeds.
So that is all the footage for today's episode. The mature male E. murinus couldn't have come at a better time. So when I was at the show, it was absolutely great. The guy that has bred them, he was selling them. I can't remember who it was or what stall it was, but it was absolutely great because he was giving me some tips. For those of you that have watched me for a long time, you would have seen my last Ephebopus murinus pair, and it was alive. And the female just came up and munched him straight away, and I was absolutely gutted. So he's managed to give me some tips to prep her, which I'm excited for. I really, really hope that this time I manage to get a successful pair, and I'd love to get an egg sac off E. murinus. Absolutely would love to get one. So all I'm going to say is look out for the future, because there's going to be a pairing video. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, there is finally going to be another Ephebopus murinus pairing happening. So happy. Oh, actually, I'm well happy about it. But thank you very much for watching, guys. So if you could like, comment and share, that would be absolutely great. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon so you're notified of when I upload next. Don't forget, guys, I've got Patreon now, 5 different tiers. So if you want to help and support the channel, there's a link down in the description. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Mr. Grindlers done here. So my creatures. So my Balfouries. I'll see you next week, guys. Have a great one. You all deserve it. Peace.